Today, my sweetest friends, I'm going to show you how to make the simplest sourdough. I start off with the starter from last week. Scoop it out, put it into the bowl. And then I add to it a kilo of whole spelt flour. And then I add another 250 grams, because in my recipe, every 250 grams is a loaf of bread. This is grapeseed oil. I like it because it has a neutral taste. I'm adding about half a cup here, a little bit more. Tablespoon of salt, and then a tiny bit more because I added that extra loaf. Here I have water at room temperature, and I'm adding boiling water to get to a hot but not boiling temperature, something between lukewarm and hot. Pour that into the mixture here. And then I'm just going to start stirring it, making sure that I bring in the starter that's on the bottom that I put in the middle and incorporate it all well. Just bringing it from the outside to the inside. Need some more water. And once again, just mixing it, bringing it all together. Each time adding a little more water, being careful not to add too much water because if I do, I have to add more flour. That's enough water at this point. Now I just want to bring in everything from the sides and start mixing that really well. You can see it's not stiff like a normal bread dough. It's wet, but not as wet as a batter. Kind of in between. Now I'm going to take a little bit, put it in the jar that I washed, and that'll be my starter for next week. add a little water so it doesn't dry out. Close the lid and put it in the refrigerator until next week. Now I'm just mixing that same batter. Let it sit and rest for a few minutes. And you can see that the texture has already changed a little bit. You can see there's some bubbles in there. And then I'm mixing it again. And you'll notice that the texture is changing. The gluten is developing. We went from this soft, mealy texture to a satiny, smooth texture that sticks to the spoon. You can see it pulling away from the sides. That's how you know you've developed a good dough. Now I'm going to prepare the pans. I add to it palm oil because I find that it works very well for not sticking. You see that I'm trying to make sure to get all of the surface areas because that dough is going to sit there and rise overnight for about 10 hours. And then it's going to bake more in the morning, and I don't want it to stick to the pans. Now I'm going to take it and slowly push it into the pans. You see I'm cutting the dough with the spoon. You can see how thick it is and how the texture has changed from where we started. Once I get to the end, I start to redistribute to try to get the same amount in each pan. And then I take a little dough scraper and get the rest of that out of the bowl. Okay, now I'm going to take this and cover it with plastic wrap. And I want to make sure that the surfaces are completely covered, but not touching the dough. Make sure it's covered from all four sides. And I stretch it out so that when the dough rises, it touches as little as possible. Now I'm going to prepare the topping, which I'm going to use in the morning. I start off with dried sliced garlic, and I'm just going to mash that up. Put it in a separate bag. And then I take dried onions, gonna mash them up as well. put those in the bag. I'm gonna add some whole poppy seeds, sesame, and sea salt. Then I'm gonna take the whole thing, fill the bag with air, and give it a good shake. You can see all of the ingredients are combined. So now it's the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. I made those at about 10 o'clock at night. Put the oven on 200 degrees. And you can see how the bread has risen. You see the bubbles and that it's spread out in the pan, that is flat on top, and some of the surfaces have touched the plastic wrap. Here I'm taking that topping that I just made the night before and gently sprinkling it over the top. Be careful not to touch the dough. Certainly don't press on the dough. It's a very gentle dough. If you hit it or drop it or press it, it might collapse. Once the oven is ready, I pour water on the base of the oven. Put the bread in. And then set the steam. So that's going to bake now for 40 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius with the fan. "40 minutes are up. And there's our final product. Now you're gonna see how spraying the pan made a difference. Comes right out. I like to eat those little leftover pieces. Okay, so here's one that the bread stuck. I didn't spray it well, so I just gently take a knife and try not to touch the bread. I just touch the place where it's touching the aluminum, and there you see it comes right out. Look at how beautiful those came out. A work of art. Art in simplicity, and tastes great. Now you see the bubbles there. That shows you how beautifully it rose and how rich the flavor is. Thank you so much for watching, my sweetest friends. I hope the recipe goes well for you. Please leave me in the comments and tell me how it goes, and ask me your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. And thank you for watching, and I look forward to our next video together. Hey, you're in the picture.
I am?
Yeah, you were just in the picture.
How does it get it?
It's recording me now, and then afterwards I can just take one screen.